Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about a Jedi-specific battle force for Star Wars Legion, something that I feel is very much wanted, and I would go so far as to say desperately needed for the game. Ever since the Clone Wars came out and we started to see Jedi show up in the Republic faction, it became abundantly clear that if any faction in this game were going to get enough Jedi to actually be able to field an entire army with just their faction, it would be the Republic. And so I wanted to talk today about the possibilities of a Jedi-only battle force. I know it's something that other people will want. I hear people talking about it from time to time. It's something I definitely want. It's one of my favorite parts of Legion is vehicles and the heroes, right? Like those specific lightsabers. I love seeing Jedi. I love seeing lots of lightsabers on the battlefield. And currently you can get a lot more lightsabers on the Separatist side, but they do have kind of limits to how many you can really do. So I want to do a Jedi-only battle force. I feel it would be pretty thematic and would kind of echo some of the scenes that we've seen in the films and in the Clone Wars. A lot of those Jedi battles, especially Episode 2, that Battle of Geonosis, especially with Geonosians coming out. I'm like, should we see, some Jedi to kind of fight that opening battle of the Clone Wars? And I think it's a great time to talk about it. So that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. I want to go over some examples of what you can do if they were to make it live now. How would they do that, and what should be some of the next expansions that they release if that's something that they're looking to do. If you guys like this type of video, if you're interested in Star Wars Legion or other Star Wars information and tabletop gaming, I'd love for you to stick around. We're doing a big giveaway right now for a $100 Amazon gift card that's running through Halloween. If you want to have a chance to enter to win that, you just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. I want to know who your favorite Jedi or Force user is. Because not necessarily every Jedi is, not every Force user is a Jedi, not every Jedi is a Force user. Well, I think that is, I think that part is true. I think every Jedi is a Force user, but not every Jedi uses a lightsaber. So it's pretty cool stuff. Also want to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. Amazing full metal tokens. These are absolutely fantastic tokens, folks. You hear me talk about them. I talk about them for a reason. They're absolutely amazing. You are going to love these tokens. Head over to luxuryplaystyle.com. Check them out for yourself. They also have tokens for other games as well as X-Wing or Magic the Gathering. Well, you either use code Crabbok VIP. You're going to save 15% off of your order by using that code. And while supplies last, orders that use that code that spend $35 or more are going to get a free Crabbok token. So you won't want to miss out on that. Very cool. The kind of the most prestigious token in all of gaming. So head over to luxuryplaystyle.com and check out these amazing tokens. All right, so first off, we don't have that many Jedi in the Clone Wars in-game right now. There's plenty of Jedi available to the Republic, but they're not all in the game. And I think a lot of people have been saying, hey, well, Shatterpoint is coming out with all of these Jedi, and you can do the hero battles in Shatterpoint. But yeah, what if you want to do them in Legion? Right now, you've got Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Anakin. That's it for your actual, your standard Jedi. You also have Aayla Secura and Plo Koon available only through the tank, right? So I think basically one thing to consider is, one option for trying to get a Jedi-only battle force right now would be to allow tanks, which kind of doesn't feel like a Jedi-only battle force. That's the thing. It's I'm thinking to myself that just doesn't feel quite right to me to just run only Jedi. So if we're gonna have tanks in there, what's really going on here? I think that there's a couple other options that you could look at. I mean, if you had to do it right now, I think tanks would have to be an option. I feel like when they do battle forces, they are not always doing them, that you're going to have to do a very specific build. So they kind of want to give you a couple of build options. So I realistically think that if they were to drop a Jedi-only battle force today, tanks would be optional, but there could be some special rule with tanks. Or they may slightly modify the tank card to make it more of something appropriate for a Jedi-only battle force. Give the tank deflect to reflect Plo Koon or Aayla Secura kind of, potentially jumping out and, doing something like that. Maybe increase the cost of it. Maybe decrease the cost of it and maybe take away some of its dice. Maybe the tank is only being crewed by Jedi, so the actual gunner is not there. So, I don't know. They could do something different like they've done with some of the other vehicles in Battle Force specific units in the past. That is a possibility, but I do expect that if they were to allow a tank in a Jedi specific Battle Force, it would require that you take either Plo Koon or Aayla Secura with it. Like you wouldn't be able to take just a generic tank. I think you'd have to take one of them. They might even make specialized Plo Koon or Aayla Secura tanks. Like this is like, you know, kind of like they did the Chewbacca ATST. They may make a specialized tank for that Battle Force. I could see them doing that, but I don't know if there's a real big reason to do that. I think a lot of folks might prefer just more Jedi get added. So, but I think there's other options that they could have. They could possibly open up, since for example, since the Wookiee Battle Force does allow for, you know, some other things that were at the Battle of Kashyyyk besides Wookiees, you know, like Yoda or a couple of a limited amount of clones. They may allow a limited amount of non-Jedi. It might be R2-D2 could go into here, since he's a lot of times he's usually with Anakin. I could see that working. I could see Padme possibly being included in this, even though, you know, it's just often with Anakin. So I think there's definitely options for, you know, allowing some non-Jedi in there, even though that's not how I'd want to run it. I would want to run it with only Jedi, and so I think you need to kind of allow that functionality as well. In order to facilitate that, I think we need to look to additional stuff. One is Padawan Ahsoka, or Clone Wars era Ahsoka, whether it's, you know, early Clone Wars Ahsoka or late Clone Wars Ahsoka, or both. I think there's room for both, but I think early Padawan Ahsoka coming in as an operative would work really, really well. And then you could save like a late Clone Wars Ahsoka for like a commander version. I think that works. You can have two different versions of Ahsoka showing up in here, and that'd be really cool. I don't know if they'll end up doing two different versions of Ahsoka. We may only get one. Then we have one with different build options too. I could see them doing something like that. But they've already done her for the Clone Wars, and they have certainly hinted that they would definitely do her for the Republic, since she's out for the Rebellion right now. And you know, Will Schick was like, yeah, of course, you know, of course the Republic's going to get her eventually, but she's just not first. So you know, she's definitely on the table. And I think it would really help for her to show up, because she could, especially if they do a younger version of her, she could come in as a cheaper point Jedi, because that's one of the big problems is all the Jedi are very, very expensive, so it becomes hard to find some points to fill in to make room. It makes list building a little bit harder. So I think she's an excellent inclusion. Continuing on some of the trends that Shatterpoint has gone, they've already done Plo Koon. Now we already have Plo Koon in the tank, but again, just because, you know, people like Plo Koon and Aayla Secura are in a tank, does that mean that they can't also, you know, be made into individual minis? They could even, and here's a cool thing, if they were to do Plo Koon and Aayla Secura, I could see them being like a 2-pack, since a lot of times they'll do that. I would like, or maybe Plo Koon and Ahsoka together. I could see that happening too. Although Ahsoka, I'd love her 2-pack to be two different versions of her, and with two different unit cards, so you can run her at commander or operative. I think that would be a cool way to run Ahsoka. But no, I can see Plo Koon and Aayla Secura coming out and have them each come with the optional little miniature that can go in the tank, like in the same way that they did Chewbacca in the ATST and stuff like that. You know, a lot of people have already 3D printed their own and stuff like that, but make it official. You know, like have it be an extra little bonus piece that comes with Plo Koon if you want to run him in the tank. But have them also come with their ground versions for him and Aayla Secura as well. I think that's a decent option. More Shatterpoint options. You know, Luminara and Baris. I think there's a lot of room. All right, so Baris easily fits in. You know, she could play that operative role, or she could be a counterpart, or you could follow a little bit with some of the other stuff. There's a lot of different ways to add extra characters, and if plus Battle Force rules being what they are, you could just allow her, regardless of what rank she is. But Luminara might have been a little bit tougher of a Jedi to kind of fit into the game. You know, like Shatterpoint kind of paints her as a healing support character, and I think in a Jedi-specific Battle Force would be a great place for her to shine, because she'd have a real good reason to heal other characters if she's going to be a healer in Legion as well. And a lot of times you do see certain common themes because of the lore and because of the type of package they try to push past marketing. I'm sure, like, hey, is this the theme we're going to go for this character in our tabletop games? And you approve of this, okay? And so if Luminara as a support role, worked well in Shatterpoint, stands to reason that it might also, it might cut the mustard for Legion as well. And then so. Again, if you got all these Jedi, you're going to be taking damage, you're going to need big healing, you're going to need Jedi support. I think Luminara would be a great character for a Jedi Battle Force. Possibly even Battle Force only, but I don't know about that. I think she'd be a good tag team partner with another Jedi if you started doing that a little bit more. And then Baris could also fit the bill for another lower cost Jedi, which is similar to Padawan Ahsoka, really filling out normal lists, but also working extremely well in a Jedi-specific Battle Force, kind of giving you some extra activations so you don't have all 200-point characters, So that'd be awesome. And of course we gotta have Mace Windu, like number one pick. You gotta have Mace Windu. Obviously, also another character that's in Shatterpoint now. Of course, the Shatterpoint's getting all the Jedi, but Legion wants them too, and Mace Windu is a must-have. He's super super cool. And it's I actually don't think he's that great in Shatterpoint. I haven't actually run him yet, but just looking over him, he's very aggressive, and I just feel like Shatterpoint's more of a movement, an area control movement game, and not as much about I'm going to kill you game. And Legion's a lot more about I'm going to kill you game. And I think Mace Windu is he could shine really really well. He could be like the Darth Vader, even though you have Anakin Skywalker, but he could have that incredible presence, just swinging through the battlefield, cutting people down. I can't wait to see them do Mace Windu and Legion. I hope it happens, and I hope it happens soon. So that's definitely something that I'd love to see. Now, if we want to also maybe jump past where Shatterpoint currently is, I'd also say let's run Kit Fisto. Fisto. Kit Fisto. Maybe run him with Mace Windu in a 2-pack. I feel like that could work, but he's fine on his own as well. I think he'd be a really fun miniature to paint. I feel like there's different looks for Kit Fisto. Looks different in the animated series than he does in live action, but between episodes 2 and 3, he had a pretty significant change as well. So, yeah, Kit Fisto's awesome. Love to see him. Love to see him show up. I feel like he works maybe a little better in Legion than he would in Shatterpoint 2 because of his swimming. He can have a lot of, I don't know, like scale or something like that. He might have some environmental movement options, and maybe jump 2 or something like that to kind of facilitate. Sometimes you have water and things like that on the battlefield. I don't think water really plays much of a role in Shatterpoint, right? But you have sometimes you have water in lakes and rivers in Legion terrain more so than you would in Shatterpoint terrain. So I feel like Kit Fisto might have more of a role to play in Legion than in Shatterpoint right now. So I think that's a cool idea. But that's it'd be kind of cool. And plus, the miniature would be awesome to paint. And there's so many ways they could do them too. But I think that's really exciting. Now, I know that I already said that Mace Windu was my number one, but he's my number one individual Jedi, but I think the number one thing the Republic needs to really make a Jedi-specific Battle Force, a viable and a real thing, plus maybe it just might help the faction as a whole, is just generic Jedi. I think we need generic Jedi. I'd love to see a generic Jedi Knight and a Padawan, especially with lots of different head and build options. I would love just a Jedi Knight pack that gives you, 4 different head options, kind of generic torso options, different arm pose options, and maybe even 1 or 2 different leg options. So you can kind of come up with a permutation of however you want to build your Jedi. And you can have them be masters and Padawans. Maybe there's a Padawan sprue that's got 4 or 5 different options for how you want to build a Padawan. And it would just be really, really cool for people to be able to kind of customize their own generic Jedi Knights. They could be special forces or something like that. I think there's a lot of cool ways to be able to do stuff like that for the Republic. You could even make it a more diverse pack and throw Merc cards in there and have a generic Jedi Knight. Like, how you'd make that? I feel like the card would be different. So if you're building a Jedi Knight, you could build the Jedi Knight for the Republic, but you could also build a Jedi Knight Merc that's like an outcast Jedi for like the Rebellion era, so that the Rebels might have access to. They'd be a Merc because they might not work, for the Rebellion. Maybe they're in hiding or something like that. So they could have very different stats. I think that's a really cool idea. I'd just, there's so much they could do with generic Jedi, and I really feel like you need some generic Jedi or Padawans or something like that to make a Jedi-specific Battle Force work beyond what we just have now. So those are some of my thoughts, but I'd love to hear some of your thoughts for a Jedi-specific Battle Force for Star Wars Legion. Let me know down in the comment section. Also, join our Discord. We have a great family-friendly Discord that you can join and talk about Star Wars and gaming, games like Legion and X-Wing and Shatterpoint and Star Wars Armada and all of these awesome games. I'd love to keep the discussion going there as well. Also, big thanks to my patrons. You guys are out of this world. You guys help make this channel possible. Thank you so much for your continued support. If you're interested in supporting the channel, check out the links in the description below. I will talk to you later. Thank you so much. May the Force be with you, and always wash your socks.